Today is October 25th, 2020, and it's around 10:20 a.m. And sitting in front of me is no other than Jackson Rich.
Jackson. It's great to be here, Jonah.
Yeah, what's up, Jackson? All right, so Jackson is a kid that I've known since, sixth grade I've known you?
I've known you the last time. I remember you in my math class. Was it last year or the year before that? But you were definitely in my math class.
We went to middle school and we're on the same bus together.
That's right. Oh, yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't
No hard feelings. No hard feelings. But that's funny. Anyways, so the other day, I was walking out of the SAT from our school. We had the in-school SAT the other day. And I saw Jackson, all alone on the side of the sidewalk. And he was, looking for the bus. And I was like, yo, Jackson, I live, 2 minutes away from you. I can just give you a ride home. And so we did. And on that ride home, we were talking. And Jackson was talking about how he has autism. And the thing is, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know you're autistic. I knew there was something, but I didn't know. I just figured you're a little weird. I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to be rude, but that was it's the honest
To be honest, that's what most people think.
Yeah. So So I was talking to Jackson on the car ride home, and I was like, "Yo, wait, you're autistic?" I know nothing about autism. Literally, I know nothing, and
yeah.
I know it affects your social abilities.
Yeah, it's a social disability.
Yeah. So I just figured, you know what? I have a talk show that I do. Why not have Jackson on? And this is that. This is me talking to Jackson. We're going to discuss his autism. And I told Jackson, this is cool. Make sure. I was asking him, you sure this is fine? I don't want you to feel uncomfortable or anything. And
nope, it's fine, man.
Yeah, Jackson's all for it. So I'm for it if he's for it. So sitting beside us is Jackson's computer, and so he just wrote some notes. And basically gonna get cracking. So I have a couple questions for you.
Shoot.
Yeah. And also, guys, it's being recorded on my iPhone, and I couldn't figure out any of the.
I had to help him.
Yeah, I just couldn't figure out any of the microphone situations. So today is just being recorded on the phone. We'd rather get it done and recorded rather than say, we're not going to do anything because my mics don't work. So we're just going to use this.
Show must go on.
Exactly. So, Jackson, how are you, bro?
I'm good, bro.
You're good?
Yeah.
So, how long have you been diagnosed? When were you diagnosed, I should ask?
I don't even remember. I was diagnosed definitely I don't even remember. I think it was definitely before I was 6. Because that's the furthest back I can really remember. Probably when I was really young, the first few years.
Damn.
Because my parents noticed that I wasn't talking to the other kids. I didn't have any friends. I had trouble talking, so they went to a doctor, and they're like, "Yo, my kid's fucked up." And the doctor said, "Yeah, he's an autist," or whatever they said. It said, so your child has autism. He's going to have social disorders. He's probably going to have some other problems like stuttering and Down syndrome and ADD and some other problems too.
Damn.
Yeah. So my brain's its own alien.
Say that again.
My brain's its own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you were diagnosed when you're 6.
It was probably sometime before that.
Dang.
But I've always had it though.
So you've always known this, you recognize that you stutter, right? And you recognize that, is that a struggle for you?
Absolutely. I struggle with it all the time. I'm taking a speech therapy class for an half an hour a week.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
That's really good. And how does that help? What do you guys do there?
We're working on techniques like smooth start. It's when you talk like this instead of trying to force the syllables out like this.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to plan out what I'm saying. It's almost like a blueprint of what
Right.
I'm trying to say before
Yeah.
I say it. Because, and actually because I'm autistic, I have a spectrum of autism that gives me higher intelligence. So I can plan out like sentences in advance, and
Right.
then I can predict where the conversation will go and imagine what I'm going to say.
Right. And so that's like, I feel like a natural ability that I have is I'm able to like talk with people really well and like just like navigate conversations.
Yeah.
And it's like my ability to like just like pick up on social cues and then also like talk. And that's how I communicate. That's how I interact with everyone.
Yeah, so what most people do is they just know too. When someone is angry, you can tell. Like, you can tell because the eyebrows, the classic signs, the eyebrows furrowed.
Right.
They're like their mouth is in a frown. I didn't know those. When someone said like, "Come here," they could be saying "come here" as in "come here for a hug," or "come here" with their fist raised as like, "I'm gonna hurt you," kind of "come here," and I wouldn't be able to know the difference, so I just I just walk forward.
React the same way that you
And
react.
in both, the problem is that's inappropriate in both situations. If
Right.
someone says "come here for a hug" and I just kind of walk there, not knowing if I'm going to be hugged or punched.
Damn.
So what I had to do is I had to basically I had to study, saying this cue is related to this event, and I had to basically take an academic course in societal rules.
Yeah. And so it was just by you like focusing on.
Yeah, saying, hey, this person has their eyebrows furrowed and their hands are in a clod.
Right.
I know that. So, sort of like, like in a test,
Right.
it's like you're being tested all the time.
Wow. I mean, in the same way, I pick up on a lot of those things that like you have to pay attention to social cues to be able to know what's about to happen, and like I just do that passively. That's like as a process that happens passively. And you're saying it's a very active mental process for you.
Right.
Right. And so how does that? It must make you. To me, it seems like I would constantly be on edge.
That's you would not be wrong. That's exactly what it's like. Because it feels like that's why I'm actually I'm the biggest introvert in the world, because it takes so much energy to talk to someone.
Yeah.
Like, it's like imagine how you feel after taking a test. Like, how you feel drained. You have to go home and do something you like.
Yeah.
That's like what I have to do. I have to take a test that's like an hour long. When I go to a party, it's like an hour long. Then I have to go home and say, "Oh boy, all right."
Yeah, I mean, it's good that you have that like awareness to be able to know that about yourself.
Yeah, it's freaking lucky. I don't know how people that don't have higher intelligence. I don't even know how they even survive. Because I don't know. I would never be able to get to where I am today if I wasn't if I didn't have the intelligence to compare with my difficulty in social situations.
Right. I mean, you're saying like people that are autistic and don't have the intelligence,
Right. So
or you're just saying people that aren't autistic but also don't have intelligence.
So, autism is a spectrum of disorder. So it goes from most intelligent to least intelligent. Some people, when you say someone is retarded means in the medical sense on the very low intelligence spectrum of autism, meaning that someone who has difficulty in social situations and has a very low IQ, like below 70, kind of low.
Yeah.
These people, and these are the kind of people that you see that I look around that have spastic movements. I went through a kid named Bobby.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was in a special ed class with Bobby, and he would make it sound like ah. He would do this all the time.
Yeah, and that's because he just like his it's like that's a physical biological thing in his brain.
Yes, so he doesn't know how to act. All he knows is when he's excited, he says that when he says like, hey guy, he gets adrenaline, and he doesn't know that doing that is inappropriate. That's not his fault. That's just something that was programmed into him.
Right. Damn. And that's something you never even realize. Like, when I'm sitting in math class and, like, someone, like, runs by the classroom screaming and you know they're from, like, the special ed class, like, everyone just, like, yeah, exactly. Everyone, like, snickers and, like, everyone kind of, like, just, like, you know,
Yeah,
like,
and
turns their head and kind of, like, giggles to himself. And it's, like,
yeah.
it's,
Yeah,
you know, and I'm not going to say I definitely am part of that, too. But, like, can you picks up on that? No worries, man. Don't worry about it. And it's just, like, it's sucks because you know that's not.
Yeah, because, like,
they don't want to do that.
Because imagine putting yourself in that person's shoes.
Right. Well, the thing is, I just said they don't want to do that. They don't want to run through the hallway and, like. But is that true? Like, it seems like, are they even aware?
Well, think about why you're like why do people say what they say at all? Because people use certain words and correlate them to certain things. In reality, it's an incredibly complex thing. It's one scientists are still studying how people talk.
Yeah.
You ever seen an MRI of someone talking? It's disgusting. Of someone like an MRI of someone talking, their mouth moving to all the places in their mouth. Yeah. It's incredible. The tongue is an incredibly intricate device.
Yeah, why do you say disgusting though?
Yeah, it's gross. So how people do that? It's just evolution. We've over thousands.
Yeah.
Question mark. Thousands.
Tens of thousands of
years. People have learned to communicate and do these incredibly complex things with their mouths, and communicate, and all that's happening with people that have autism is they've lost that.
So do you feel like in some sort of way like more basic like form, like you're able to communicate is more basic and like primal? Is that like?
I wouldn't. I guess in some situations I could resort to that, but that's not. I don't have. It's like I'm not. My communication isn't instinctual. It's not that there's primal communication. It's just that there's no communication.
Right. Like, sorry, my phone keeps going off. Do you have like the internal dialogue that like?
Oh, tons of it. I talk to myself all the time.
Right. So do I. Yeah. But like, does your internal dialogue stutter?
This is different with different people. Different people stutter inside, and that's actually a sign of whether it's physical or psychological.
Right.
My stutter is mostly physical because I have a tightness around my neck that causes the stutter. So like, I have a tightness around my neck.
Yeah.
The air literally can't get out of my lungs.
Right.
So it makes it so I can't talk, and I have to consciously loosen my neck. It's like,
for instance, for people that are listening, folks, he's showing me with his neck. He's like tightening his neck and holding his neck. But you can't see that because I'm not recording it. But like for me, a big part is my internal dialogue, and like that's how I, think, and. It just seems you have that, right? You have that internal dialogue.
Yeah.
That's all I know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so you have the internal dialogue, but but it's like imagining something that you want to say. Have you ever had a dream where your mouth where like you're trying to say something but you can't because your mouth is like sewed shut or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's almost like that, but it's not it's not as bad as that, because it's like trying to talk, but like imagine if a hand is grasping around your throat and squeezing and tightening it at intervals, and you don't know when it's going to do it.
So it's kind of like
but while you're talking and trying to form the words, you're also trying to watch out for that hand,
and you're also trying to decipher the social cues of the conversation.
Yeah.
And trying to also think of something smart to say.
Yeah.
It's not an easy thing.
Not at all.
And I feel like, I don't know, I've never really stopped to think of how it's not an easy thing. Communicating is, I just take it for granted.
Yeah, and Yeah, it's got, and for me, I'm also kind of closed out because a lot of people try to imagine like, wow, like I feel really bad for autistic people. I don't feel bad for I don't really feel that bad for myself because I'm in the same position where I look upon people that have autism and have a low IQ, and I myself, I find myself snickering and snickering and laughing among everyone else, because I'm in a way I'm in the same position. It's just other people kick me down, so I in turn kick other people down. I am,
And do you think
just as
yeah,
I'm just as much at fault
for like laughing at people that are lower IQ and you saying that?
I try not to. Well, I mean,
Well, no one tried, dude. No one. That's not.
unless you're an awful person.
Yeah. Well, and that's like, your own personal development and growth as a person. Being able to recognize those feelings and be able to like subdue them. You know what I mean? But it like, do you ever feel like, damn, like I'm lucky that like it's not that bad or something?
Oh yeah, I feel that if it's actually a personal growth that I try to make, is to try to appreciate, like, because actually I do really have a lot of people would pay money to have the autism that I have, because in today's world, especially now when you have the pandemic, you don't talk as much and you're doing a lot more work. Yeah. So having autism is actually
it's an upper hand.
Yeah, and you have, when I go to colleges, a lot of them I get to have like an individualized education plan or an IEP, which means you get extra time. You get extra time on tests. I get extra time on the SAT. I get tutors with teachers and things. So I get a lot of things that other people don't have, and I have intelligence to boot. So I feel like autism, it's called Asperger's. It's different. It's not so much a disability as it is just my skills are shifted somewhere else.
That's a really great way to explain it.
Yeah.
It's a really great way, because like it seems as though everyone has there's a certain amount of points that everyone has the same amount of points to, like the same sum of points, but
it's like a skill tree
points.
Game.
Yeah.
It's like a skill tree.
Like everyone's got like 50 points, but like someone could have like 10 in social ability, 10 in athleticism, while you have like 20 in your programming.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
I put all my points in intelligence.
And so that you keep bringing up intelligence, so that's a very important thing to you.
Oh yeah, I would never, like I said, I would never be where I am today without how smart I am.
And so you're very aware of your intelligence then.
Yeah.
And that's like a big thing of your development, is like reminding yourself of your intelligence.
Hey, I'm big brain.
And that's like a thing for you?
Yeah, because I do because coming with autism, I also have a problem with depression, which is a separate thing from autism.
Right. Oh, I would love to.
But that's a talk for another day. But because I have depression, I do have to remind myself that hey, even though I have this problem, everybody is different, and people and I have some things that a lot of people would pay so much money to have.
And that's a thing for me. I have been depressed, and I have like gone through feeling low, and it kind of seems absurd when you realize, oh my bad, like our feet touched underneath the table, guys. It kind of feels absurd to feel depressed when you kind of, for me at least, it helps to realize like, hang on, I'm a good looking kid, I'm able to talk to people, and I can do the things that I want. And that's the way I remind myself, like people, like you always look to the people above you, but what you have to realize is there's like,
you have to look to the people above you and below you.
Right. And it's like people say, "Oh, don't compare yourself." It's like, well,
you kind of have to.
That's
society.
Right. And like to kind of like put yourself in your position and like ground yourself. It's not a way of like making yourself more arrogant, or it's a way to humble yourself to then be able to then pursue the things that you want, then to have the mental energy to pursue the things that you want and get over that depression and over that like feelings. Because there's and like Jackson, you got to realize, and like listeners at home, what you guys got to realize is that like so many people are in their own heads and depressed in their own ways. And I mean, you got to learn, and life will happen, but to be able to figure that out. Yeah. But once you realize that everyone is going through some shit, and once you realize that everyone has their own like mental battle going on, you will realize like, hang on, all these thoughts are in my head, that all these negative thoughts are in my head, then you can pursue the things that you want.
Yeah, and in addition, because, and actually, yes, of course, everybody has their own goals, and you should strive for them as much as you can. But my goals as a child were, because I was so intelligent, a lot was expected from me.
And like they expected you to like.
Yeah, so like you have, like, other people say like, C's are fine, B's are amazing.
Right.
Me, like, I have to get A's. If I don't get A's, I might as well not exist, because I have to get it.
Because that's what your existence seems to be, like, my intelligence, and if that's not there, then what do I have? Yeah. And so, what if your intelligence fails you?
I've thought about that. It does not mean. I've considered the possibility that intelligence is linked to value as a person. I've seriously,
right.
Believe it or not, I have seriously thought about that.
Oh yeah, makes
and
sense.
now I think that's ridiculous, because everybody has their own value, and
right.
Even if you don't have intelligence, there's still great things about you. The only reason that we consider some people to be the things that we hold ourselves to, that we consider ourselves or other people to be better or worse, is just the standards of society.
Yeah.
Comparing one person to another person and saying, we as a society think that this trait is good and this trait is bad, and we're going to move all the people that have this trait up to this ranking and give them and give them fame, money, and power, and then we're gonna beat up and bully all these people that don't have it.
Right.
Sorry, I spit a little bit on your table.
Don't worry about it. Yeah, I mean, that is a constant thing that you remind yourself of, is this like society and the way social interaction influence, it's kind of seems difficult for me, who I don't have autism, and it's difficult for me. And what's interesting is you have autism and you still recognize it as difficult, but do you feel like, it must be so much more difficult, or does it seem like it's the same level of difficulty?
I do think, despite the fact that I think everybody has their own values, I do think that that even though I have all this intelligence, it is somewhat difficult, because a lot of people have depression. My depression, because I held myself to such high standards, when I didn't meet those standards, I have a part of my autism is that, I have it in my notes here, is that I have a rush of adrenaline. So imagine if you you have this glass of water, right? Drinking the glass of water, everything's fine. You spill the glass of water, wham! Just your mind, you can see everything. Like, imagine imagine that you're in American Idol. You're about to come up, you're about to play your instrument or do your act or whatever. That's how you feel right then. Like, you just have all the blood pumping through you.
Oh my gosh.
And it's
also just something so simple as spilling the water.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. And
this happens regularly?
This happens all the time.
Of course it must be difficult.
Yeah.
The fuck? Why does no one talk about that? How do I not know that?
I'm able to hide it incredibly well.
What I'm voicing my frustration at is that like people will make fun of people that have autism. People will like make fun. It's like, well, life is different for you.
Yeah.
Like, why don't people cut you like more slack? You know what I mean?
Well, in a way, it's sort of an evolutionary thing. It's like if the people that have autism do not fare as well in the society, then we will not. Then we, if we don't give them as much, then we're sort of it's almost like it's a form of eugenics in a way, because we're sort of saying these people are going to have saying people with autism should not be part of our society, and those people can go off and do whatever, and we're sort of cutting them off, which in a way autism is special because they're already cut off, because they especially we especially don't have do not understand the standards that society sets for us, so we're especially cut off.
Right.
So by differentiating people based on the different traits that they have, we're controlling our society by saying these are the things that we want, and if we do that, more people will have those things because they want to be well ranked in society. So people will naturally strive to be that perfect person.
Right. And do you think that's a good thing that there's these like goals are set up?
These
societal goals.
To each their own, right? For me, that's not particularly important. I think that's more of a case of I don't really have a choice. That I can't have that be important to me, where my self-worth goes down. Because I guess so I have to pride myself on the things that I have, like my intelligence.
Right. And I think that's really important. Like that's actually something that I struggle with, is like being able to compare myself,
recognizing the things that you have.
Exactly. That's exactly right. And I think it's also important for you to appreciate your intelligence and not think it's something that I'm not. Maybe you might think, this is arrogant that I think that I'm so smart. Is that something that goes through your mind?
I do think that sometimes, not very often, but sometimes I don't really have that problem. But if I'll bragging, because I just don't like
it just shows up sometimes.
So I don't talk that much, so I don't really have a problem with bragging. I had a friend. I had a friend once. I'd say a friend. He was my friend. I wasn't really his friend.
Right.
He was a huge bragger. He was very competitive. His name was Noah.
Don't say the last name.
All right, whatever.
Because I had to mute it out then.
Oh yeah. Noah beep.
Yeah, exactly.
But he was very competitive, and he's always bragging. So I was saying, I'm better than you.
Yeah.
Well, how old was he? Used to play with. He was. We were. It was from. We were. Well, he was my friend from first grade to middle school.
Yeah, I mean that behavior does still make sense. Like to be, you can attribute that to also him being so young. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I mean, this is true, and like when I have my own personal like hang-ups and like things that like guide me, like you remind yourself, I'm intelligent. Like one of the things that I know that's true about myself is that I'm more mature than most anybody in our grade, and and it's a source of conflicting emotions, because I know that I'm mature, and a lot of times I was like, no, like that is arrogant. Like, don't tell yourself that you're more mature. Like, that's preposterous. People are gonna think you're an arrogant asshole. But the thing is like
it's true.
It's true, and to not accept that is to not accept my own self, and then you're not like admitting to yourself what you're worth. But it also is a source of like, so then when you embrace that part of it, like, oh, this is like me, then you feel like I'm more mature. Like that's an amazing thing to be able to say about myself and like be proud of. I think that's a great quality. But it also is a source of frustration because then I'm like, well, I'll never like naturally feel like I'll be able to have like the teenage experience, like where you just like grow up in like, you know, in the movies. I don't know. Because it just, I don't want that. And then if I do have that, then I feel kind of hollow inside. And so what fulfills me is like doing the things that I want, which is a mature person's wants. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, every person has goals they want to accomplish, and the key to being happy is knowing this is my opinion. Everyone has their own opinions. But my opinion is, if you want to be happy, you have to know what you want. If you want to have your teenage years, don't go building things. Don't go spending all your time working. Don't go don't do nothing. Don't.
If you want your teenage years, go hang out with your friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you have to do it. You have to keep in mind what you want. If you are working a lot, ask yourself: do I want money? Do I really want it more than I want everything else?
Right.
And if that's true, then
keep doing it.
Yeah.
And like that's a really great thing though, and I mean I was writing down questions last night that I wanted to like run over, and one of them is about happiness and success. Yeah. I feel like success is a really big word. Because everyone you want to be successful, right?
Yeah.
Everyone wants to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think a lot of people actually unpack that word. Yeah. Success is such a...
Yeah, because everybody has their own...
views.
Yeah, everyone has their own definition of success.
I mean, success, you can't even... When someone says success, I'm like, what are they referring to? Like financial success or like personal... gratification and happiness, success. Yeah. And there's
success to some people, success is just being happy. It's just feeling happy.
Right.
And whatever it takes and doing whatever it takes to feel good.
Right. And so right now, this makes me feel good. This show, this talk is me manifesting one of those avenues to be happy because and part of it is like I would be unhappy if I didn't do it. And, I had all these hang-ups. I didn't do it for so long. You didn't see that because I just wasn't making anything. But, like, I didn't do it for so long because I thought, oh, someone's going to not like it. Someone's going to hate on me. Someone's going to think it's weird. Right. And, like, those were own personal hang-ups. And, like, once I got over that, once I, lived enough to realize if someone doesn't like what I'm doing, then you can move on. Like it's not that big of a deal. Like... Yeah. I'm not designed to everyone to like me, you know what I mean? Once you realize that and that there's 7 billion other people that you can move on and experience if they like you or not, then you feel free and that you can do the creative endeavor that you want. And that was like a personal thing for me. Yeah. But it's important to be able to like recognize like what success is and what makes you happy, because ultimately like you want to live a life that you want. You don't want to waste your life. Yeah. And so you have these internal like thoughts. I thought part of autism was that you wouldn't even realize these things.
Realize what things?
That like you have I thought part of autism was you didn't have the like mental capacity. I'm not trying to say this to offend you. I'm just trying to yeah, okay, fine. Cool. That you didn't have the mental capacity to like think about your own emotions and like have an internal dialogue to even think about your own happiness and then success and then how to manifest that. You know what I mean?
Oh, it's kind of the opposite because I spend so much time in a dark room, I have a whole bunch of time to think about these things. Whereas other people, they thrive on other people's energy, right? And they don't give themselves time to think about these things, so they just say what other people say.
Exactly, and so I am an extrovert. Like I realized for me, right now, the way to explain it, my mom says, is if you're an introvert, you recharge your batteries.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Right. So for listeners at home, the saying is, if you're an introvert or an extrovert, an introvert, you recharge your batteries by being alone. But if you're an extrovert, if you recharge your batteries by being around other people. So the meaning, like, at the end of a long day, if you like need like to be alone, you're an introvert. And if you like wish you were around other people and you need that, you're an extrovert.
Right.
And what I'm realizing more and more is that like doing this like energizes me. It fucking like makes me feel great, and it makes me like
it makes you happy.
Yeah, it makes me fucking happy. I just got chills. Yeah, it does. And I thought part of the autism was that you didn't realize that. You didn't like think about your own happiness and think. I thought
for a long time I didn't. In fact, I was so depressed around middle school that I actually have scars scars from self-harm on my arm.
Really?
Yeah, I still have some pencil lead in my arm.
Really?
Right, like.
And would you be able to feel it? Part of before Jackson came on, I picked him up, and he was explaining that part of the autism is that he has you said dull pain.
Oh yeah, I have there are several facets to my autism, and one of them is that I can't feel extreme pain. It is muted, so like I can feel like a little bit of pain. Like if someone pinches me, I can feel that. In fact, I can feel it a lot more. That's why when someone like taps me on the shoulder, I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
So, but if someone were to stab me, I probably wouldn't notice for a good second, or maybe I would probably notice, but I wouldn't be screaming like most people. I just kind of stand there like.
And is that like there's a lapse in your like, because I'm in psychology now, so we're learning about like the neurotransmitters and like how the nervous system works. Is that like, is there a flaw in your nervous system, or is there a flaw in your brain's ability to pick up those signals? Well,
I'm gonna tell you, I have no idea.
You have no idea.
All I know is that I once showed my friend that there was like those plants you have down by. The
thorns,
the
prickers,
the brambles. I can run my hand down them and like run it down it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, cool.
And your hand will be all cut up.
Yeah, it'll be all cut up. In fact, you can see you can see the mark. You can see marks on my hands.
Yeah.
From where I do stuff.
And so guys, he's showing me his knuckles.
Yeah,
you just look like you have like, rough. Dude, don't. Like you just have like rough hands. They look like.
Yeah, you see
They look like grown man hands.
Yeah, I have these giant
calluses. I mean, they just look like grown man hands.
Yeah,
dude.
like I have like skin peeling off.
Yeah, part of it is when you tell me these stories about you running your hand down briar branches.
Yeah,
I'm like, holy fuck, that must hurt.
But it doesn't.
That's part of me, like anthropomorphizing. Do you know what that word means? It's like someone was explaining as if like you wince at like a animal, like if an animal gets shot in a lung, you're like, oh no, poor animal. But the thing is, like they perceive pain differently, and so we're like putting human emotions and pain into like an animal that doesn't even receive pain.
Personalization.
Yeah, it's like exactly. And so it's like I'm trying to put my own emotions into your experience of like putting your hand down the briars, but it's just not the same, and it's not really worth me like even, trying to equate that because it's not the same. It's not even you can't compare the two.
Well, I don't think it's unimaginable for people. I think it's possible for people to imagine running your hand. It's like if your hand's asleep. It's like imagine if you like imagine you like slam your pinky on the ground while it's asleep. The pain is like numb a little bit, right? It's dulled. That's what it's like for me, but I can still feel.
But so my thing is, and just like watch out for the mic.
Oh, sorry.
No worries, man. Like my thing is a bad thing. why would you want to do that? Why would you want to run your hands down? I mean, just because you wanted to show off to your friends. That's probably it.
That's about it. It also makes it so that I mean, it is useful for things like if I step on a nail or something, or if I hurt myself in some way, I don't scream, I don't feel it, so it's not as bad of an experience.
Well,
in a way that's bad though, because then you're demotivated to do that.
Right. Part of the human evolution was to
feel pain.
If you get kicked in the balls, it hurts like shit. So then you don't get kicked in the balls and protect your children. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
that's the thing. If you get, hang on, just because I'm curious, if you get kicked in the balls, it still hurts. Right?
Yes.
All right.
A lot.
I fucking feel like that's like a primal, like one of our basic instincts. A basic human function is that if you get kicked in the balls, no matter your like development level or like your intelligence or anything, it will hurt. If you get like, I feel it's a basic like human function.
People like there's some actors there are some actors or some people that like train, they get kicked in the balls every day and can manage it. Those people can't have children. I bet they can't have children.
Yeah, you know Steve-O from Jackass?
No.
Oh, well, he's like this, crazy stunt daredevil or whatever, and his thing is that like he goes on tour, like comedy tours, and like the backstage people, I think that's like one of our fans spinning up. Like if you have like the backstage pass, you can go up and kick him in the balls, and so he's been kicked in the balls like over like 10,000 times in his life, and I don't think he has any kids, so I don't.
Is it like a counter?
He has like counter? You can look it up, like compilation of Steve-O getting kicked in the balls, and nice. That's his thing. His thing is like pain is his thing.
Oh, so he's a masochist.
I don't know if he likes. I don't know if he likes pain, but like. It's his
maybe
thing.
Just like showing off.
Right. It's like that part of like being a kid and like wanting to show, I can run my hand down these briars. It's like just part of fuck though. That's
another thing. That's the thing. That's a societal standard that like not being able to feel pain is another thing.
Or
that,
to be able to like overcome pain.
Yeah. Or it's more of like I can't feel it because I'm so strong. But for me, it's not because I'm so strong, it's just because I can't feel it. But the idea of not being able to feel pain gets morphed into a more general concept that I can conform to.
And what's that more general concept?
Of not flinching when someone being able to take a lot of hits.
Damn.
If someone punches you, you don't cry, you don't fall back. You stand there and take it, and it looks it seems manly.
Right. And is that important for you, like to be able to have that ability?
It gives me a higher ranking in society, which is nice because then people compliment me and say, hey, that's pretty cool, and that makes me feel good.
I mean, this idea of like higher ranking society, like what I'm realizing personally, like from my own development, like I'm realizing the more and more I think about life as like a ranking and that there's people above and below, I'm realizing it's kind of limiting to my own like growth and success.
Right.
And so my question to you is like, do you find that this ranking is like, where does this ranking exist? Is it like internally or is it external?
It's just in society. If only the only ranking that you have is if you compare yourself to others, and I was told this all the time, that if you compare yourself to others too much, it'll start to
deteriorate.
Yeah.
You. Right.
It'll start to feel weird.
Well, what I'm trying to ask, Jackson, is like this ranking. You're talking about hierarchy and social hierarchy and stuff like. In high school, there's a microcosm of that. It's called popularity.
Oh, yeah.
I
know all about that.
Yeah, exactly. And so what I'm realizing is that in COVID, having 6-month break for everything, and to be able, like you're saying, like when you're in a dark room, you think to yourself, 6-month break off of school, that's all I did was think to myself and think about my own, you know what I mean? I
spent that time doing a whole bunch of work because that's what I do.
Yeah, like computer work or working at McDonald's?
Yeah. I was working on my app.
Oh, yeah? And, well, my point being that, like, that opportunity to think deeply about yourself is really, like, crucial for me for my own self development. And what I am realizing is that popularity is less of a construct, and popularity / like social hierarchies is like less of a construct of something like society and external views, as more internal, and it's more something that I produce in my brain, that like, oh, this person is more popular than that person, and then like, oh, I can't do that because they're popular. Oh, I wouldn't be able to.
Isn't that the definition of a construct? It's something you make up.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. But like my idea, my question is, if you know that's something that's made up, like, wouldn't you want to not believe in it then?
That doesn't mean it's not real, because popularity is very real. It's a very real thing.
How is it real to you?
I've experienced periods of popularity and unpopularity, and I've shown that there is a lot of flocking behavior. When if one person says, "Hey, that's pretty cool," a bunch of other people join in and say the same thing.
Conformity.
And you know why these people join in? Because they don't know. They don't know what happened. So they're saying they don't want to be left out.
Right.
So that's why people can make a big deal out of nothing, because it was a small deal, but other people think it's a big deal, and they join in, which makes it a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of psych. I keep saying, I'm in AP Psych right now, and it's just intro psych, but I love it, and we're only like 3 chapters in, but a lot of times my conversations circle back to what we talk about in class, and conformity is that idea. There's an idea, the vocab word conformity from my textbook, and it's that idea that like people will follow and like flock, using flocking behavior.
Yeah.
If people see something, they'll be intrigued, and then if it's just them, they'll be intrigued, and then that's all it is. But if there's other people that are already like looking at it, and they'll like be like, oh, let me go there and see what to look at. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just like natural human behavior. But I don't think that is popularity. I think that is just like people just following social norms.
Well, it's sort of it is. I guess you could classify popularity as a positive as a positive form of conformity.
Really, a positive.
As in people think positively of you.
Right.
So one person says, "I like you," and then another person says the same thing, because you did something that society says, this is good. I like this. And then other people say, I like you for doing that, or for being that. A lot of times it's for being that. And that's where I don't think it's good, because what you are is not something you can control. So that's not
what you are. Wait, say that. What you are is not something you can control.
It's you get popularity. You get popular from what you are and what you do, and and what you are, the side of that equation that is what you are, I think is wrong, because you can't control what you are.
I would actually have to disagree.
Oh, why?
I think you totally can control what you are.
Well. Okay. I get it. I see what you mean.
Like, this is why this idea of popularity seems as like, it can be a positive if you are in that, like if we're talking about social hierarchy, if you're at the top of the hierarchy, then it would be a positive thing. But that's only if you're at the top. So many are below that, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's when it's a negative thing, and a vastly, like, for most people, a negative thing. And if you realize, I would have to agree, popularity is because of like what you do and how you are.
And the people who are super popular are only like that because they really, really want it. they don't want money. It's all about your level. It goes back to
Are we talking
to
still
winning.
about like high school popularity or like life hierarchy?
It applies to both, but I think you're talking about life.
Okay, because I was kind of on the high school like,
Yeah.
but
So think about celebrities.
Yeah.
Celebrities try really, really hard to get all this makeup. They spend all this money to get popular. They could use that money for so many other things, but they use it for the thing that they want to be happy about.
Right.
Which is popularity.
Right, and it also doesn't make sense when people say, "Oh, that's so dumb." It's like, well,
Why?
that was what's important to them. You know what I mean? Like, but we were saying like popularity comes from like who you are and what you do,
Mm-hmm.
and I think who you are is something you can totally control, and that is like an equation for you to like. Who you are, who do you think you are? Deep question, but like, because I want to be able to, like, my point being is, if you know who you are, then maybe I would be able to figure out who I am, and then like we can show that you can know and control who you are.
Well, in truth, who we are is a big bunch of mass.
Of molecules and
yeah. And that's why I think in the future, when humans right now are very similar. We strive. Part of us strives for similarity. We all have 4 limbs. A lot of us have eyebrows and eyes and the same features, and we can predict. We have a facial recognition system.
Yeah.
Because we're so similar that that a system can identify our faces.
Mm-hmm.
But in the future, I hope that won't be the case, because maybe we'll meet aliens. Maybe we as a species will expand to other planets and develop more limbs, fur, maybe more eyes, all the sci-fi things.
Right.
And when that happens, society will find it extremely hard to classify people, because people will be so.
That is such a cool thought.
Different.
That's such a. Oh my god, that's an amazing thought that I would never have.
Have you ever seen Rick and Morty?
I've seen Rick and Morty, yeah.
Yeah, it's the same concept. Everyone's so different.
Oh, I mean, I've seen like a few. I don't remember like.
I've seen every episode. I love that show.
Well, like, what I'm saying is like. Personally, I think we will like continue to evolve to the level of growing another eye. I don't think so.
The third eye.
Or another arm. As much as that would be helpful and useful.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think that's what our evolution is gonna bring us to.
Probably not. Yeah.
Well, like the reason being, like, if you think about evolution in the way of like how we've come where we are now, it's been millions of years that have like.
They have determined.
Yeah, this is like the most perfect design for that. Like, and what I was like, if you pick up on shit, like, I'm thinking like the things that we aren't able to do are less like physical and less like I need an extra arm to do this task, are more like
mental.
No. It's less like externally physical, but more like your ability to digest different foods better, your ability to like your metabolism. Like this is where I think our bodies are going to evolve. And 10,000 years ago, our bodies weren't able to like produce. To consume and extract the nutrients from bread and like what's it called, gluten. And now 10,000 years later, our bodies have evolved to eat bread because bread has been a part of our diet for so long. And it's not been like a type of thing where like we grew another arm to be able to eat bread, you know what I mean? But this
I would like that though.
Yes, that'd be fun. I think having another arm would be very helpful. But it's like a cool thought that like to think that if we did evolve to such a crazy extent that our classification of like what we know to be human and what we know as like how to define people would just you can't do that. And this I always think, what if in like a million years apes evolve, so it's not just humans talking but apes are talking too, and like and that's what what's
human, are they human,
or in consciousness would have a completely new definition. The definition of consciousness is like being aware that you can be aware.
Right now, consciousness basically just means human. It's basically just another word for you are one of us. But in the future, I think that's going to change, and people are going to get a better idea of what consciousness means.
Well, consciousness. Wouldn't you think consciousness is that like awareness of being, like you're conscious. I'm about to use that in the same definition. You're aware of your ability to be present and aware. You're
aware that
you know this.
You're aware that you exist, and you
exactly.
You're aware of your own existence.
Right, exactly. And so I don't think dolphins are like the next smartest animal, right? But I don't think they're aware of their own existence. They are just living life. You know what I mean? And I think part of the we're very conscious beings, and we're able to like think about ourselves and our like why are we here, and like what does it all mean? Like these are profound things to realize. And it's only us. It's only the human race that can think that.
And that's the thing. So is it possible that some of us, I know we are kind of deviating from the original topic, but are some humans not conscious?
I have no idea.
The people that just walk around to work, that had eat, they do what they got are they conscious?
They definitely are conscious. I would say they do have internal dialogue, and if they're able to live in a life and live in society, and grab a bagel and like do that, then they are conscious because they're able to like talk and communicate. But you might argue like some people seem less conscious. You know what I mean? Like some people seem less alive. And less like
everything is muscle
excited
memory.
and it just seems like you're just living life by the motions. And that I would the exact definition of conscious, they are conscious, but they seem a little robotic, you know what I mean? And but one of my philosophies of life is like we were talking about like I want to still be like a teenager, enjoy my teenage years, but then why am I waking up at like 7 a.m. every morning and like doing hard work, doing my videos and stuff? Like that doesn't seem fun, and that doesn't even seem like a way to enjoy your teenage years. It's like, well, this is what I want to do,
but is it?
And this is what I want to do. Right now, this is what I want to do, and it's not. It's like for me because I am just unhappy not doing it. You know what I mean? And I got to that conclusion by thinking about myself and like being aware and conscious, and and that is what makes me happy, is being aware and living my life to the fullest.
And I think a big part of me being happy is being conscious, is doing something like this talk show, like really thinking about who I am and the various philosophies of life.
Right. And my grandfather, I actually interviewed him. You can actually watch, shameless plug.
Subscribe.
You can watch that one. But he was saying in the middle, in that interview, he was saying, being conscious is living, and the more conscious you are, the more you are living. And he explained it in a more elegant way, and more wise words and choice and everything. But that concept is really, really important. That the more conscious you are, the more aware of life you are, then the more you're living, then the more conscious you are, and it's like a cycle. And another quote that I think about is there's this like really disabled guy, like he's quadriplegic, he can't talk properly, he has to have like the tubes up his nose to breathe and everything.
Geez, that's rough.
Yeah, it's rough. But the thing is, he's like one of the lead roles in the Mad Max Fury Road movie.
Sick.
Yeah, and it's like, wait, how did he do that? Like, because he was thinking like, I want that, and I could let my body and my disabilities like prevent that, but like if I want it, I can go get it. And he was saying his big philosophy was, if you're going to live, he was saying, like, when you go in the hospital, because, you know, he had all these problems, and he was like, as a kid, he was going to the hospital all the time.
Mm-hmm.
He was saying, when you go to the hospital and you're arriving on that stretcher, you have one of two choices. You can either die and say, fuck it, I'm gonna die. Or you can either live and be, fuck it, I'm gonna live.
Yeah.
And you can perceive those words in any number of ways, but the way I perceived that was like, if you're gonna be alive right now, what is the fucking use wasting it not being aware of your own worth?
Have you heard of a channel called Unis Honest?
No, I haven't.
It's this channel. It's this other channel on YouTube that it basically self destructs in 1 year.
Really?
Yeah, and the whole idea is that it does that in order to avoid all the copyright claims and all the worries that come with maintaining a channel, because the channel will be deleted. So why not make the best? Why not just do what you want to do and make the videos that you want to make? Yeah, and I sort of take that as and I watch that channel all the time.
Yeah,
and
I'll check them out.
It's got like a month left until it's deleted, and when it's deleted, all of the videos on the channel should be gone, and the makers of the channel will work to make sure that they're not re-uploaded. So the goal of this channel is to say these videos will be gone, so watch them now while they're still there, or you won't have the chance again.
And that like same idea, like part of the reason why I like videos so much is that they will always be there.
Yeah.
And a big thing to me is like I want to like preserve memories, and making videos is like
they're
part
gonna
of
be around for thousands of years probably.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's insane. That I can just make a video that takes me like a couple hours, and it'll just be there forever.
Yeah.
Like boop, there it goes. Like that was it. Now it's there forever. And it's
Yeah.
like how for me, obviously I'm gonna take advantage of that. Like that is, and that's why I like making, like that's a big part of why I make videos, is because I want to like preserve that memory of my life. But I also feel kind of like twisted that like I want to preserve my own memories so badly. Like what is my own, like do I have some sort of like hang up about myself that like I think I'm so great that I need to preserve my memories? And it's like, no, like I just want to do it because I think it's great, and if someone wants to know, then they can go back and see. And if I want to know what I was thinking, then I can go back and see. And when I'm dead, you can go back and see, and that's cool. And that's it. Boom, there you go. Like that's it, and it makes me happy. And that part of like saying that these videos get taken down is like, that's a really cool way of making this something that seems so permanent and bringing it back to real life, because memories aren't,
real life is not like the internet.
Right, you can't preserve memories like you can in a video. Like memories are a distant like feature of the past. But
memories are just neurons in your brain, and eventually they're going to fizzle out.
You know, I had two friends over last night, and we're talking about, and we played Fortnite with each other all the time when it was popular, and we were talking about how we have memories in Tilted Towers. Like we literally have memories in that city. We have memories like running across like the streets and like building in the rooms. Like we have memories in that, and it's literally not even something that's physical. That's not a real thing. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's so crazy because these are real memories that were based in something that isn't real.
Yeah.
And that is like a crazy idea, that we're like the first generation to ever, like our childhood memories were grounded and rooted in a non-physical space.
In a virtual reality.
Exactly. And that is such a part of me is like, that is awesome because these, it helps promote memories and like it's a cool idea and concept. But another part of me thinks like, oh my God, like life isn't virtual, life is still physical. I should be making memories in the physical. A time?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, I could keep going on and on. I have one last question for you.
Shoot.
Because we gotta wrap up. He's gotta go. But are you happy right now?
I am a little. Well, there's several ways to measure that, but for one, I'm a little stressed because it's in between. I have to go back to my house, then I'm going with my friends, and I have some homework still to do. But on the whole, compared to what this was like just a few years ago, I'd say I am happier than I am on average. So yeah.
Yeah, and for me, like, being conscious makes me happy, and I'm more conscious and aware of myself than I've ever been. And I'm what?
Sorry.
Oh, well, so, like, I am the happiest I've ever been, and it's because I'm doing the things that I want and not letting anything else prevent me from doing that. And personally, I think that's a great way, and I think other people should do it, but I can't force anybody else to do do anything. But
yeah. And despite the fact that I have autism and I have depression and all these disorders, I think
I don't feel like depression is a disorder though.
It is. It's it's a mental disorder. It's a mental disorder that stops your brain from producing endorphins.
Do you think autism is a mental disorder?
Yes.
Well, that's by nature. That's what it is. But some part of me thinks like, if it's mental, then can't you like overcome it?
No, it's mental is physical in a way, because there's if you're saying something is mental, then it means that your brain is a thing that physically exists. It's a thing.
Right.
Parts of your brain function. If something is psychological, then that means that these are memories and habits that form, and those you can overcome. But if something is a mental disorder, then these are chemicals going off in your brain.
And they're real.
Yeah. And you can't, and those you can't stop just with neurons.
Some part of me says thinks that you can stop it. Like if you had the...
you can find ways to get around it.
Right. Good way to word it. I think part of being if you're aware of it, then you can kind of view it abstractly, and you're separated from it, and you're able to pull yourself apart from it and then look at it from a distance and be able to be like, okay, this is what this is. Yeah. Do you ever think of your stutter like that?
I think of a lot of things like that, especially my stutter. I think my stutter is something that is happening, but my stutter I can't control because that is psychological. So I can theoretically get over that. It would just take years and years, and I don't very few people, well, actually I don't think anybody really, I don't know if it's a psychological disorder. Actually, I think it could be mental. I don't know, because
I just know for me a lot of my own you say depression as a disorder, to me it's oh well, it's just a thing, that's a part of life. Well, and it's a part of mental mental growth is being depressed at one point and then overcoming that.
Oh no, there's a difference between depression and sadness. Sadness is something that you experience
right
temporarily. Depression is a mental disorder that caused you to be sad for a long that caused you to be very sad for a long period of time.
Right.
So not so.
And I'm certain my depression hasn't I don't know. I don't want to play whose dick is bigger, but I am aware my depression is probably a wimpy version of someone else's depression, but it was still depression, and it's still it still made me develop as of who I am. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And but it wasn't looking back, there are these ways to kind of pull yourself and abstract yourself and then realize what is actually happening. And I feel a stutter could be approached the same way and attacked
Absolutely.
the same way.
Yeah.
You take yourself out and realize okay, this is what's going on. How can I curtail this and make this a thing that I control. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's what you're doing, right?
Yeah, but that's why I'm taking classes.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good thing. I mean, personally, I don't have a stutter, but I meditate. Like, I meditate consistently.
Yeah.
And that also allows me to, like, pull myself out and, like, abstract myself. Anyways, I could keep talking, but I gotta get you home. And
all right.
So, any last words that you want to say before we stop the recording?
Everybody's different. Don't rip on someone for being different because you're different too.
Damn. I applaud that. I love that.
Thank you.
All right. Wisdom from Jackson. Words of wisdom from Jackson. All right, man. Thank you for being open to talk. I really appreciate it. It was a really great talk, man.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah. And anyways, thank you guys for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed. And if you guys have any questions or comments, you know where to leave them. If you guys liked the video, leave it a like. Like the video or / recording, whatever this turns out to be. Leave it a like. And if you disliked it, go ahead and dislike it. And if you guys want to be on here or add anything, you know how to get in touch with me. My Gmail, Instagram, anything is in the About section of my YouTube page. Any last words, Jackson?
Nope.
All right. We're signing off. Thank you guys for joining us today. Peace.